please help us welcome, presenting a beautiful evening, celebrating our jazz legends here in the Twin Cities. Would you please welcome to the stage our friend Patty Peterson.
I love this stage. Thank you so much for being here. This is always such an honor for me to present new people that you get to know on a little deeper level, always. And so it's so much fun for me to be standing in this position of an MC, radio announcer, and vocalist, which I'll get to in a minute. But on behalf of Jazz 88 KBEM, we have done this show now through the State Art Grants Program. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But this is, I think, it's since 2014 or so since we've been doing this, honoring legends, people who have pounded the pavement here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. And they have such a history to tell about what it was like when they were first in the business, and then what it was like as years went on, some of the challenges, some of the joys, and what it's like for them now, and what do they think about the way the scene is now. Of course, we've had some challenges with sheltering at home and not having a lot of gigs to go around in the last couple of years. But we also find out what they might be saying to a young up-and-coming person who still wants to play jazz, even though it's kind of a tough life. So that all happens in something called a radio documentary that will be aired on Jazz 88 in June. And what I do is I will interview people in the studio at Jazz 88. I'll interview them here on stage. We'll take some of their prior recordings, and we'll also take some of the live that we'll be hearing from today. And we, and I say we because it's a collective effort on so many people's parts, but Steve Weiss and I and some of his colleagues edited it down to a 1-hour show, 15 minutes for each of the 4 people. So it's a really big honor for me to have not only have had the vision of watching 90-year-olds, first of all, on stage back in 2012, and they were at the Olog Theater, and it was Cliff Brunzell, some of you might remember these names I'm going to mention, with the Golden Strings. It was also Jeannie Arlen Peterson, I think you know her too. It was Percy Hughes and Irv Williams. And then a little bit later on during the live portion, it was Doris Hines. If you know of her work, Gary Hines is her son, the director of the Sounds of Blackness. Russ Moore as well. Is Russ here today? All right, great. Russ Moore, great drummer, and the secretary-treasurer of the union for many, many years as well. And I'm going to be Cornbread Harris was also featured, and he's turning 95 coming up on Friday. And what else? There was one more. Oh, yes, and his name, he had the Turkey River All-Stars, but it was Dixieland, and I'm not going to think of his name. So much for having it in my head here. Yes, Les Fields. Love that about you. Thank you very much for that. So as the years went on, we did what we could to really get the stories out of people who were in their 90s, then 80s, and all the way down. We're trickling down to a place now where we are this year between 75 and 80. And it's really kind of fun. We're going to change the format. We're losing the 2 words. Minnesota Jazz Legends, the elders. The elders are the wise ones, and I don't care how old you are. You've been in the business for 50 years like I've been. You're an elder to a certain degree. Yeah, 50 years. I can't even believe I'm saying that. So it's a long process to tell you that this show is really got a lot of components. Thanks to Ian and to Jim for the live stream here today at Crooners. Thanks to Crooners, Mary and Andrew for having us here. Thanks to Jazz 88 for helping me hold this vision of recording the history of jazz in the Twin Cities. I really appreciate that. And this is all brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Did I forget anybody? Colin on sound. And I know, if I forget, I'll come back. It's not the only time you're going to see me. Phil Aaron is our pianist. He's been with us in the house band for all of the years that we've been doing this. Oh my gosh, 2014 to now, I think 2015, something like that. This is Phil Hay on the drums, everyone. Joining us this year, Kevin Clements on the bass. And our jazz legends this year, Dr. Steve Wright, and he's going to be our first person coming out talking a little bit about his life and his experience. Mr. Ollie Lyle, a wonderful upright bassist who not only is a great musician, but he's also an author and has quite a story to tell. We're going to have a few moments of honor and respect for a Brazilian pianist, a brilliant Brazilian pianist, Manfredo Fest, and then finally honoring a powerhouse of a woman in the jazz community, Linda Peterson. And so, with no further ado, I'm going to get my song out of the way because he makes me sing one just to warm up the crowd every single time. So we're going to do that. All right, Phil? Thanks to my pals from Jazz 88 for being here. Thanks, Travis. I don't know where you are, but glad to have you here. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. I got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. There's a song I sing, I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Oh, lucky me, can't you see I'm in love? Well, life is a beautiful thing. Whenever I hold that string, I'd be a silly so-and-so if I would ever let you go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. Oh, what a world, what a life, I'm in love. Is a beautiful thing. As long as I hold that string, that's Phil Aaron. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I ever let you go. Oh, I got a world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life. I said, what a world, what a life. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. Thank you very much. And now keep your hands together for our first Minnesota jazz legend, Dr. Steve Wright, everybody. Yeah. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Patty.
That's good. That's good. We're going to talk to you just a little bit. I'm going to have you do a couple of tunes right now, and then I'll come back and we'll get to know a little bit about your journey. I sound like Star Trek right now. Your journey. Right. Steve Wright, everyone.
Thank you. We're going to start out with a tune by Cole Porter entitled I Love You. your horn sitting by a slightly open door at the 1st of May. What's wrong with that?
Steve Wright. Yeah. Okay, I got you. You sound great.
Well, thank you.
You're definitely you're on the air. Who from your family did get a chance to come?
Well, I believe my wife and one of our daughters, Margaret, is here.
Wonderful.
My wife, Mary, so.
Well, thank you for doing this. Yeah, this is so great. Steve Wright, I've known him for such a long time, and we've had the great pleasure of doing something that you might not know the expression, live industrials, corporate shows, where I was the actress and the singer, and you were in the band.
With your mom.
With my mom, Jeannie Ireland. I know, we've
In
honored
fact,
her.
I was thinking that as I heard her singing earlier. I think, oh, geez, that sort of sounds a little like Jeannie.
Well, I can't imagine why. That was one of her favorite songs, by the way, right?
okay.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted them to get to know you just a little bit better.
Sure.
Always been trumpet, always been flugelhorn?
Yeah, and piccolo trumpet and E-flat trumpet back in the graduate school days and,
Okay.
you know, things like that.
And any other ones, or was just this
No,
your
this is
passion?
basically the arsenal, except for, excuse me, Easter and Christmas when the piccolo trumpet gets out.
Okay.
And you try and get the valves working again, yeah.
Get the valves working, or get no.
And then
never
I
mind.
write all the music for it, so I just decided this Easter I'd leave out the piccolo trumpet. So.
Well, all right. Talk a little bit about when the college experience you had, and the service, and some of the name drop a little bit of the things that you were a
name
part
dropping.
of. And I already had him in the studio, so I know a lot of this stuff. So we're going
she
to
knows
edit
the
it down
stories,
just
yeah.
a little. But I want you to hear about this too.
Well, as it happened, I come from a musical family, and my dad was the band director in, excuse me, at Burlington High School in Iowa. And but when I was in junior high, we had a great junior high band director who had all of Clifford Brown's albums, and he started probably one of the first, you know, we think of them as middle schools, but junior high jazz ensembles back in the I always used to do that with my college students. I'd say, well, back in, I heard, you know, at any rate, it was in the 1950s, late 50s. And so I got pretty excited about the music and ended up going, when I got into high school, I ended up going to a summer camp, got a scholarship from a well-known trumpet player named Don Jacoby, and somehow ended up in the top band at Indiana University to this one for the second week of a thing. It turns out the lead alto player, who was a year older than I, was some guy named Sanborn. Dave, I think it is, yeah. So Dave Sanborn and I have known each other for, oh, good God, it's almost 60 years. So, but then we ended up in college together. Both Northwestern University, and then we both transferred to Iowa. So I got quite a lot of experience just rubbing shoulders with somebody like that, but also a number of other great players, even, you know, down in Iowa there. So, but I ended up in the Air Force.
Yeah, you did, and you got to talk about who you ended up working with. It was really a coup for you.
Well, in 1968, you remember, some of you were of an age, I hope, that might remember there was a thing called the draft. And we were, you know, musicians were deadly afraid of getting drafted because that'd mean the horn or whatever would go away and you'd be, you know, shooting. And I didn't want to do that. So, but the thing is, we'd heard that the Washington, D.C. bands were the best place to go. The jobs were guaranteed. You got advanced rank, but you had to audition. So I flew out, and lo and behold, I got into the band called the Airmen of Note. And
Did you hear that? The Airmen of Note.
Yeah,
That's
if you
a huge
don't know that band,
That's a really
get to
incredible.
know them.
Right. Right.
They're still going strong and attracting some of the best players, young players, and the thing. And then I played third trumpet for a while, and then took over the lead trumpet thing. I found out I was the youngest lead trumpet player they ever had at 23.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But I got out, and I eventually made my way here.
Yeah, you did. And what was it that brought you here?
Well, I had met Jack Gillespie, a trumpet player, fine trumpet
Yeah.
player. I don't know if some of you
Yeah.
know him. I was on the road with a band. You'll never believe this, the Mexicali Brass. And guess what we played? You know, I know all the second trumpet parts to those. But I met Jack doing some what we call in the time fair dates, state and county fairs that had bands behind all of the acts and stuff. So I called him up that summer after I got out of the Air Force and said, Jack, you got any of those you know about? And he says, why don't you just move up here? You know.
And you did.
Yeah.
And you did. So did you start teaching? Were you just primarily working in situations like that?
I within about a week, I was doing a jingle and at what is now Steve's studio.
Commercial work.
I can't remember what it was called even back then, before Cookhouse. But then got to know the Sound 80 folks and
Right.
Dave Carr, of course, my good buddy. I was going to wear red socks in his honor, but I discovered I didn't own any.
Somebody changed that for him. Get
You know,
Steve some red socks.
When I hired him for my big band, Dave's always right there in the jazz tenor's chair there, tuxedo and red socks.
Yeah, perfect.
And the only guy I'd ever let do that,
Well, you just touched on another point
Sure.
because I want to skip around a couple more points. You have a big band. You've had a big band.
had a big band,
You've recorded with that big band. Talk about that.
Well, we did a session back in '81 and had a few great players. The sax section was Brian Grivna, Mark Henderson, Dave Carr, Kenny Holman, and Kathy Jensen.
Nobody good.
Yeah, we couldn't. Well, some people didn't even know who they were then.
That's right.
But yeah, and I mean a lot of great players, and the great Jimmy Hamilton that we
yes,
both recorded
wonderful,
with out at the Lafayette.
wonderful pianist, and just great guy.
So it was just easy to do. We'd been playing a lot of concerts, and then we went in and recorded 8 of my tunes and 2 of guitarist Rick Cornish's tunes. And I had intended to do another one after a while, but there was this little thing going on in the 80s that kind of made work a little higher. I think it was called Reaganomics.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry to you
We don't have a
guys.
tough time for that, but not enough time for that
Yeah, I
conversation.
know.
Okay, so now I want you to fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
So you did the big band. You've been a writer and an arranger. You've
Right.
been you've worked with Motown. You've worked with some big names. Name drop a little bit.
Well, I was just telling Andrew about playing for Tony Bennett and Peggy Lee out at the old Carlton Celebrity Room.
Yeah.
And that was the only one. But Dave Carr and I keep going back to my buddy Dave, but he and I would always get called to do Rosemary Clooney's shows.
Oh, fun.
And so, I mean, months ahead, her music director would make sure that we were available.
Okay.
So, but it was those kind of people that were just incredibly fun to play for, and just about it. I've been putting together a list of names of people I've played for, and it's getting longer
It's getting nice
and longer.
and long. Yeah, and all of your work with the Minnesota Orchestra
Yeah,
as well.
I did
and-
a lot of things when Doc Severinsen took over the Pops thing. They often needed somebody to come in and play lead trumpet on these things, and I had known Doc since 1964.
Wow.
He
That's
gave me a
pretty
trumpet
amazing.
lesson. He worked with our high school jazz band.
Oh, for goodness
And
sakes.
seeing as the director was my dad, somehow I ended up getting a lesson with Doc Severinsen. I don't know.
So this is all really exciting, but I also want to talk about the fact that you're an educator. You ended up at Gustavus Adolphus.
Yes.
You were part-time teaching. I don't have the
Yeah,
language, as you said.
I started at halftime, and then they said, "Well, we can bump you up, but you got to go and get a degree,
And so?
a master's degree." So I
Yeah.
got a master's.
Dr.
And then I finished
Steve
off and
Wright.
got the doctorate.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I did all that in 2
That's
years and
beautiful.
9 months.
Not great. But the coolest thing is you revisited that college and you were really nicely surprised about something that happened and was right here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
Here at
right.
Crooners.
That's right here at Crooners. And this is such an honor. And then I'm going to ask you to play one more song. Tell them what was bestowed upon you.
Well, it was actually on the department, but the Dave Stamps, who is now the jazz director there, doing a marvelous job. He's a great guy and fine trombonist. He asked me, oh gosh, even last fall, he says, we're going to do a concert at Crooners to start our tour out. And I'm going, oh, okay, that's cool. And he says, could you come up and maybe sit in a tune? about every month or so, I'd get a call from him or, a text and say, hey, you still on for that? So my wife and I came here and sitting over there, and before the concert by the college group started off, one of my former students showed up with his daughter, his 15-year-old daughter. The short story of it is they created a jazz touring endowment scholarship in my name, so that students who couldn't afford to go on international tours would be able to get some help from it. So this former student of mine pledged $25,000 and matching. So I'm helping out down there and trying to, lead them, in good directions. And we went over my whole list of 24 years of the top jazz ensemble at a luncheon. It took us close to 2 hours. And going through it, I was just amazed at how many of them I still
Connect with?
Connect with at least minimally,
That's
on
great.
Facebook or something, and
That's
so it's an honor, but it's also a great opportunity for those students,
Right, who might not
As
have
it
had that
happens,
opportunity. So, Dr. Steve Wright, let's have him do another song.
Thank you. This is it's attributed to somebody else, but it's really a Miles Davis tune.
again for your participation in the Twin Cities music scene from Jazz 88. Here's a Minnesota Jazz Legends trophy to honor his induction into the Minnesota Jazz Legends. Yes. Thank you so much. You want me to hold it? And there's a case back there for you. Okay. You take care of that, and then I'm going to continue on here and ask for a little help clearing the stage, if you wouldn't mind, please. We want to continue on right now, but before we get to our next guest, I placed something down here, and I want to know if I can bring it over, or do you want to bring your dad up? Can I bring the award over, you guys? Okay, that'll be a good idea. In the house tonight is Mr. Russ Moore, drummer extraordinaire. He was with us in 2014, and listen, it's all on YouTube. You just got to look up Minnesota Jazz Legends, The Elders 2014, and it was at Creation Audio. He told some of the best stories about what it was truly like here in our Twin Cities in the jazz clubs. But he's here, and I have a trophy for him, and I want to go give it to him right now. I might need a minute. Okay, good friend of my mom's too. So, to continue on, I think I need more music. What do you think? It always helps the soul, right? So sweet. And I want to bring out our next guest. And you don't know about this next guest enough. But this next guest played some of the most prestigious clubs you've ever heard about here in our Twin Cities. In the 1960s, he was working with Percy Hughes, Carol Martin. He was working with some pretty extraordinary people. Well, I'll let him tell you about it. He grew up in a musical family as well, and he stayed home in the Twin Cities. And he has another brother by the name of Bobby who decided he was going to pick fusion for a type of jazz that he wanted to do. But our guest Minnesota legend today is Mr. Ollie Lyle on upright bass. Come on out, Ollie. Thank you for doing this. I'm going to let him play a couple with the band once again, and I'll go find a tissue, and I'm all good, you know? And I'll come back, and we'll do a little talking as well. But this whole thing touches my heart like you can't believe. We're preserving the history of jazz. We are doing that right now in the state of Minnesota. Thank you. I lost track back there. Hey, will you talk to me just a little bit here? I'm going to bring you this microphone, and we can just catch everybody up to speed just a little bit. And, okay. So much for having this cleaned up. I'm going to move some of this stuff. There you go. Hi, Ollie Lyle, everybody.
How you doing? Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. We got to know each other a little bit, and it's not only, well, your name came to me by a few people, some of our former Minnesota jazz legends. Ahmed Abdul Karim, as a matter of fact, was one who had recommended you and saying that you have lots of stories to tell. But so let's get down to it. Grew up in a musical family. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we had a lot of influence in the family, with mom being the church organist and piano teacher. She gave each one of us a chance to sit down at the piano. Some of us took it up, some didn't, you know. But
That wasn't your thing, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
And we had the school bands. We had a lot of different instruments. I tried a few instruments. I started out on the sax. It was nice to do it, but then I went to the trumpet.
And you had a reason why you wanted to go to trumpet, right?
The reason why I went to trumpet was...
yeah, as you told me, because you like Miles Davis.
We had, in our house, we had Chet Baker and Miles Davis albums, and that was kind of a
I'll do it.
big influence, yeah. So then later on, I got drafted into service, and we were out on bivouac courses where you go out in the field, and they want you to rough it and know what it's like to rough it out in the field. Coming back to the base, I heard we heard the post band playing up on the hill, and I just said kind of rhetorically, wonder how you get in that. And well, you know, it was at a time when President Johnson had kind of upped the numbers for going to Vietnam.
Okay.
And I said, oh boy, this could be it for me, going to Vietnam. So anyway, when I said, how do you get in that? I finished basic training.
Okay.
And then I got orders. This sergeant that I was marching next to was up in personnel. And he saw my record, you know, school band this, school band that. And they invited me back to go to band school at Fort Leonard Wood. And it was
On what instrument at this point?
In
that band, what were you still playing a horn?
the band, I was playing a trumpet.
Trumpet still, okay.
Right, and I played trumpet, by the way, in some R&B groups while I was here.
In the Twin Cities?
Yeah, that was.
But what introduced you to the upright bass, which you play so beautifully?
Yeah, well, I went to the after band school. I went to Fort Monroe, Virginia. That was the United States Continental Army Command Band. The nice blue uniforms with the white gloves and that whole outfit.
You'd made it then.
But
right?
I tell you,
Right.
if you have to be in the service during a war, I mean that's the best way to be.
It's the way
in.
to go.
I mean, so we had our morning formations in the rehearsal hall on the post, and they had a lot of basses up there, and I started plunking around on the bass and liking it more and more as I did it. And one day, somebody from upstairs in the offices came down and said, "Who's playing that bass?" And they said, "Lyle." So he went back upstairs, and a couple days later, we were getting our assignments, things to do, and they needed a combo over at the Fort Langley Air Force Base. That was right across from us. There's a general who was getting another star, I think. So they needed a combo for that. The guy came down and he started naming the group as a quintet, and they named my name, and I almost fainted. You know, I mean, but apparently because I just was so surprised
Okay.
to get it. So went over and did it. The gig turned out to be okay. So that was really my first gig on bass.
That is so
Yeah.
cool. Then
So-
you came, let's fast forward just a little bit. We've talked about this, and it'll be part of the radio documentary on Jazz 88 in June, where we'll edit down these pieces and the live music and all of the great interviews. But when you got back to the Twin Cities, we're just going to move forward a little bit. You were still playing bass, right?
Yes.
And you weren't very old, about 25. And what happened? You started playing some pretty amazing places, right?
I started playing about a week after I got out of service. I got a gig. It was at the Valley Pizza in Dinkytown. And,
Woo!
they had music downstairs from the restaurant, and hey, you know, it was a start. So you know,
That's right.
Went with it, and well, played a few gigs after that until I got a gig at the top of the Hilton. With
Who remembers the top of the Hilton in
the
St.
top-
Paul?
Top of the Hilton, where they have the carousel.
Right. And who did you work with?
That was Billy Wallace. Billy
Okay.
Wallace, a wonderful piano player.
Yep.
And it's a quintet up there. Can't quite remember. Bo Bailey on trombone.
Okay.
A lot of good players. So that was a very fun gig. After that, I was introduced to the leader of the Point Supper Club
The Point Supper Club. Okay.
group. That was Percy Hughes. Percy Hughes said, "Okay, come on, let's work together." So we worked. Really, it was a fine restaurant. They had a reputation for fine dining and
All right.
and good
Supper Club, like
Yeah.
where we're at
and-
right
and-
now,
and-
right?
And good music, right? So
Okay.
so everything was great about the gig except coming and going to the gig.
Now you have quite a story to
Right.
tell about this. Would you touch
I
on it for a moment?
Started getting stopped by the police out there. It was racial profiling, targeting,
Hmm.
and it was it was terrible, and it was getting worse. And so I had to do something about it. So I went to the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, to see what could be done about it. And they said, "Yeah, we're familiar with this problem out here." So there was, unbeknownst to me, there was a judge out in Plymouth who used to be a trial lawyer, and he wanted to get back off the bench and get back on the floor and do cases because that's what he was comfortable doing. So he went to the ACLU and said, "Are there any pending cases here?" They gave him my case.
And
And we got the case in court,
okay.
and it was a 2-week trial for this situation. The jury deliberated for 3.5 days, and they came out against violation of civil rights. This case, by the way, was in federal court, and it was under the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So that was like 6 years after. So
And with the kindest soul, he took that into his hands and wanted to make a change. And the powers that be went with what you were trying to do is raise awareness, is what
Right.
I was understanding from your story.
Right. So it was really a situation at the time because I was going to the U. I was trying to go to school, but I wanted to stick with this and see it through. People were telling me, "Hey, you better watch out. You know, they're gonna get you." You know, I didn't care about that. I just wanted to see the case through.
Right.
And family members were worried, but anyway, it came out fine. There were too many people watching for something bad to happen. You know. So
You got, as years went on, though, I know that I'm really fast forwarding, you got a formal apology. Not only did your case get heard and you won, basically, but not too long ago, you got a rap at the door when you were finishing the novel, a jazz novel that you have for sale, but, and the mayor of Golden Valley Did a very nice thing. What
Yeah,
did he do?
I was finishing up the book at home, and there was a knock at the door, and I mean a real loud knock, bam, 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 you know.
Okay.
And I opened it up, and the fellow at the door, the suit and tie, he introduced himself as the mayor of Golden Valley, and he said he came to apologize for 50 years ago, you know. And
It's amazing.
something I never thought would happen, you know. But
Wow.
he did, and it was just. And why I wrote the book, to, first of all, as a 50-year anniversary for a successful civil rights case, and then also to kind of commemorate the 100th birthday of my lawyer, Bill Merlin, and he would have turned
That's so
100.
thoughtful.
He would have turned 100 last year, I think it was.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to do a little sketch of what racial profiling is like. I mean, people of color know what racial profiling is like. But so I did this little sketch and did the book that I call A Valley Too Far. That's the main title. And the subtitle is a jazz novel. And what I was trying to do was weave the civil rights case into the jazz scene. And that's what a lot of people tell me that they like about the book. So
I started the book. It's so well written. You'll have to get it. Did you bring some with you tonight?
no, I don't.
No, I got mine from Amazon, so write that down.
Right.
A Valley Too Far, a jazz novel. So,
Right, so
yeah. So anyway, I know you've played in groups and configurations around the Twin Cities. You're still gigging. You had a gig on Monday with Jimmy Ten Bensel and Dale Alexander and a bunch of other guys. You still loving playing music?
Oh yeah, you know, and this area just has so many wonderful players. It's just the great players that this area has. It's just about right now, just about like these musicians will tell you, it's about venues. We want more venues. You
That's
know.
exactly
But
right.
I'll tell you what, the best venue I think in town is right where we're standing here, Crooners.
All right. That's for sure.
Thank you,
Thank
you,
you.
Mary.
Ollie, will you do another song?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. I'll take that from you. Ollie Lyle, everybody. It's Ollie Lyle. Ollie, come here. You have to have your Minnesota Jazz Legends, Ollie Lyle, on behalf of Jazz 88. Thank you for being a part of this.
I'm so honored. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Continuing on, we are going to pay special tribute to a wonderful Brazilian pianist who lived here for a couple of decades. And it's such an interesting story. And I know that, Ollie, I forgot to get this from you, but Ollie was the first bass player that ever worked with this man. His name is Manfredo Fest, when he got to town. And I have just a little bit that I want to play for you right now. Colin, if you'd be so kind. Take a listen to this, and this is Roberta Davis singing with him. This is Manfredo on piano.
Hi, this is Phil Fest, the son of Brazilian pianist Manfredo Fest, who spent 2 decades in Minnesota playing concerts and recording. My mother, Lily, and I are thrilled that Manfredo is getting honored as one of the Minnesota jazz legends. I know personally that he loved Minnesota and the many wonderful jazz artists that he collaborated with throughout the years. I loved growing up around my father and surrounded by his friends, and honestly, it has rubbed off on me. As you're listening to this greeting, I'm in Brazil, playing shows supporting my new album, Seresta. I'm so honored that I was able to play guitar with my father, do a variety of recordings, including 4 albums for the Concord Jazz label. To be honest, Brazilian music has never left me, and I continue to play it to this day. I look forward to being a part of this radio documentary honoring my dad, Manfredo Fest, and taking you through his musical history both in Brazil and Minnesota. Thank you.
That's Phil Fest, his son, wonderful guitarist. All right, I'll have you bring that down just a little bit, and I want to introduce to you one of his former students who's going to come out and play one of Manfredo's songs. Put your hands together, Dale Alexander. Hey, Dale.
Hey.
Talk a little bit about being a student of Manfredo.
Well, the good thing was that he would put a tape on the piano, so he didn't know if you couldn't play or not. He would just teach you the song. So he didn't know I couldn't play. But he would teach you every single note that he was playing in his hands. So it was up to you to go home and do the homework.
Oh.
It was very interesting.
That's very interesting. And you're a drummer by trade as well, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Which one are you going to do? Which song?
The one you just heard.
I hope so. I love that song. And that is simply called?
That's what she says.
Right on. Dale Alexander. Thank you so much for doing that. That's right. One other little point of reference is Manfredo Fest was legally blind. How's that for some incredible music, right? I'll be right back out, Dale. Thank you for doing this. You got a little short one in there too? You got a second one to do? Or not really?
Real short.
A real short one. Okay, good. That's tough. This is Dale Alexander. Thank him for coming to show us a little bit of Manfredo Fest. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. That's going to be so much fun because I love Manfredo. He used to come out and hear me in the old Dakota many years ago with his beautiful wife, Lily. So much fun. I have to tell you something really, really exciting. I'm just going to take a little moment here and let you know that the Twin Cities Jazz Festival is back and it is live. It's in downtown St. Paul in Mears Park, and Jazz 88 is it's the Jazz 88 stage in Mears Park, as a matter of fact. This is brand new. Am I using the language right? Because I'm trying to just riff this. Dan Larkin, our manager over here. Johnny, was that right? No, but okay. Well, so tell me what it is. It's the Jazz 88 main stage. Thank you. The main stage. Okay, so when you're out and about and you're going to listen to live music back again in downtown St. Paul, Twin Cities Jazz Festival, make sure you stop by at the Jazz 88 booth because we want to get to know you better all the time. And so we're very proud to have that connection with the Twin Cities Jazz Festival. So there you go. Top of my head. Not bad. Okay, they're gonna coach me on this one. We'll bring the guys back and you're there. Our last Minnesota jazz legend, the powerhouse woman that I was talking about, has many, many great messages in the songs that she writes. It's somebody I've known for a really long time, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that we don't talk like we're sisters when we're up here, that we talk like she's my guest and she's going to let you know what she's all about. Put your hands together for Linda Peterson. Go get situated, my sis. Do a couple. Now, I want to know a little bit about this first one that you're going to do. Did I win about which one you're going to do?
You won. I was
won.
gonna do a Miles Davis song called "4" that I stole Anita O'Day's words to, but it got overruled by this original of mine. In my older years, I have stopped with all the sappy love songs, and now they're all silly songs that I write. So.
And singable. I love it.
And singable, and Patty knows it too, and we can sing it together, and it's ended up to be a fun little song, and I hope you like it. She included it in the program, and so there you go. We switched it out. All right. Thank you, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Meter's running up in the taxi, and you're stuck in the back seat. The driver can't move, so you might as well groove. 'Cause baby, you got to be somewhere. Sitting in your car in the slow lane, making you late for your fast train. Well, just mellow out, 'cause there ain't no doubt you always got to be somewhere. Relax. You got to laugh. breathe in, breathe out. Just let the moment pass. You pick the longest line at the grocery. Same for the bank and the laundry. That's just the game, don't let it drive you insane. Baby, you got to be somewhere. Take a little bit of this. Meter's running up in the taxi, yeah, Kevin, and you're stuck in the backseat. Driver can't move, so you might as well groove, 'cause baby, you got to be somewhere. There you are, sitting in your car in the slow lane, making you late for the fast train, you New Yorkers. Just mellow out, 'cause there ain't no doubt you always got to be somewhere. You have got to relax. Just got to laugh. Breathe in, breathe out. Now that's what I'm talking about. Well, if it rains, you forgot your umbrella. Don't let the day get you down. Just grin at the gloom and crank up your tunes. 'Cause baby, you got to be somewhere. Oh, just grin at the gloom and crank up your tunes. 'Cause baby, you gotta be somewhere. Thank you, everybody. What about this band here? They never saw this song till today. I know, I love it. All right. Here's one that I just love, and I don't even know where I got it. It was a favorite. I go to Palm Springs and work every year, and it was one of my friends' favorites, and they said, you have to learn this. So he gave me the sheet music, and I know it was written by a woman named Francesca Blumenthal, and it's a pretty little song called The Lies of Handsome Men. Ooh. I believe in star signs, and I believe in film romances. I believe in fantasy, and I believe with just one glance, he's crazy for my eyes. 'Cause I believe the lies, handsome man. Oh yeah. Now I believe in witchcraft, and I believe in Cinderella. I believe in gypsies, and I believe I cast a spell that sends him to the skies. 'Cause I believe the lies of handsome men. Somewhere in the corner of my mind, I am not a fool, completely blind. But even though he's hooked me on his line, believe in love songs. They seem to know just what I'm feeling. I believe Prince Charming. I'd never know he's double dealing. Oh, how my spirits rise, believing in the lies of handsome men. Sometimes in a dark and quiet place, the truth and I, they meet face to face. And even if his highness disappears, I keep some stunning souvenirs. So I believe in hearing, and I expect that happy ending, wishing on a rainbow. I pretend he's not pretending, someday I'll get wise, but right now I need the lies of handsome men. I need the lies of handsome men. Thank you. A lot of handsome men around here, right?
Turn around, sis. Let's talk just a little bit.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
We have just a little bit left in this show, and then Mick Sterling has got a great show in here starting a little after 6. So we're just going to get to know Linda a little bit, and then you promised me you're going to listen to our radio documentary coming up in June, right? Minnesota Jazz Legends. First of all, thank you for doing this.
My honor and my pleasure, and thank you for asking me. It really is.
Absolutely.
This is our home. The Petersons call this home. As much traveling as we've all done, this is home. I still own the same house I bought in 1980, where I raised my kids, and this is home.
So something that people don't know about you is that when you were a teeny tiny little girl, 2 or 3, our folks were the staff musicians and singer at WCCO Radio before any of the canned music came in. How old were you when you started singing on the radio?
2.5. Can you imagine?
Yep. What was the song?
Buttons and bows.
Buttons and bows.
Is east and west.
Oh, how cute is that?
I just can't imagine Mother, the painstaking time it must have taken her to teach a 2-year-old a song like that. It's a hard song.
But we got to tell a story, and that's Mom would plunk a piano note, and the minute we could stand up here, she'd plunk the piano note and go, "Sing this note," and
You
if
have
we
to
could
match the tones.
and then we were in. So
Yeah.
anyway,
And then Mother says Dad had me playing chords on the piano when I was 3.
no way.
So
That's
I
so
mean,
much
it's a
fun. I didn't
legacy.
even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of didn't get into the music industry until what, early 20s?
Right. Right. Just after I had Jason, I worked at Richfield Bank, would you believe? But my fun after school, Dad and Mother had what the musician call fake books. They're now called real books, but in those days they were called fake books, right? And they were always chauvinists that they were written in the male keys. So I'd come home from school, and my fun after school would be to sit at mom and dad's piano and try to plunk out these tunes and try to sing them, because I'd learned to sight read in choir and, taking piano at Holy Angels and stuff, but nothing was ever in the female keys.
Right.
So, well, I penned a little book of 25 standards in girl singer keys so she could say, here, piano player, now you can.
Okay, so I gotta know, you were singing some jazz gigs around the Twin Cities, but how is it that you ended up going to New York City, and in light of what was happening with Carole King? Talk just a little bit about that.
I was sure not singing jazz in those days. This was the middle 70s, 74 or so, and I was working at the Normandy, and I was playing piano down there, and it was the cocktail hour, and there happened to be a patron who said, I played a few of my original songs, and he said, you've got a pretty good talent for songwriting. He said, I know a young man in New York. He's just become the A&R, which is Artist in Repertoire, right? That's what the initials stand for. And he's got a new position at RCA Records. And it was Don Heckman, who was later went to become the successor to Leonard Feather as the jazz critic for the Los Angeles Times. And he remained a family friend. But I was so naive that this gentleman said, call Don Heckman. Well, I called, not realizing you can't just get a hold of a VIP like that. Well, I did. It was Thanksgiving weekend. He picked up the phone. He was in the office after hours, and he told me later, he said, the only reason you got in to see me was that I liked your voice on the phone, and I thought, maybe this girl can sing,
Very fun. And so, but he also said something kind of prolific to you during those recording sessions when you lock, stock, and barrel moved out there.
Oh, yeah, I
with
did.
Jason in tow. Yeah. What did he say to you?
He just said, you're going to be a really good jazz singer when you're about 35. I was about 25 at the time, so.
Yeah, well, there you go. But you did record half an album with RCA with more pop-oriented songs.
Yeah, very pop-oriented. I was, going to be the next Carole King.
Well, there you go.
But then we can fast forward to the time at which I was offered a job at the Sheraton Piano Bar, Sheraton in Copenhagen. And Billy, my brother, said, you can't go to Europe without having a jazz book together. You better get going, sister. And he had me listen to a few people, including Anita O'Day, who I just ended up loving her style.
Yeah.
But anyway, then segue to our Copenhagen years when we went over there, and my kids went to international school over there. That kind of that topic is, I know you were asking, what would you tell a young performer?
Right.
Now, I mean, there's a lot good, more good than not good in being a musician. No, you're probably not going to get rich unless you get a recording contract, which I had at RCA Records, but just timing was off, and it didn't last, and they kind of cleaned house in those days, and everybody got fired, and all the new acts got dropped, and so I still had a fabulous experience. And you talk about youth being wasted on the young. They put me up at the Algonquin Hotel, and the guys, when they came out, they flew Billy and Bobby, our cousin Bobby Peterson, and Mike Elliott, who was a star guitar player from here back in the day. But they put us up at the Algonquin Hotel, and I remember calling Mother and saying, Mom, there's something weird on my salad. It's like mold. I was blue cheese dressing.
Oh, that's funny, Linda. Wow. Okay.
So I mean,
yeah.
Let's be honest here. I mean, I think Don Heckman used to just get the biggest kick out of me. I was not really, because I was a city girl. I thought I was kind of smart, But he was a New Yorker, and he thought, oh, this little country bumpkin or whatever,
Oh, that is so cute. But you came back, you had Vanessa, you lived here, and then you've started working out of here, whether it was Florida and now Palm Springs or back in Europe so many times. But you have created more and more music. You've penned a lot of songs. You're a Minnesota Music Award winner for your writing, for your jazz albums, and you're also inducted into the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame.
along with our beautiful family. We're so
Yes.
blessed and so honored by that.
Now, you and I are going to join each other in studio coming up very soon, and we will probably be at the station for 3 hours talking. But
Oh,
at any
so
rate,
much to talk about,
when
yeah.
you were in Copenhagen, you came up with a title of a song that I would love for you to do for everybody right now, and you're going to call a couple people up, I think.
Oh, I am. My brother Billy, who was there, he is my story in Copenhagen. He was in Paris doing a CD or a touring date, I think, with Ben Sidran. And Bob Rockwell, who you might remember from here, he used to live in Minneapolis, great tenor player, moved to Copenhagen many years ago and kind of beat us over there. This is 1985 when I was going to go. And he assembled a recording session for me because I had this title in mind for doing a record, and Billy took the Viking Nord Express from Paris to Copenhagen. The sessions were in place, and Billy produced this whole Too Late to Leave Early CD for me, and
So
that is
so the name of the song is?
Too Late to Leave Early.
That's right. Thank you.
Then, I'm not done. Then I just have to tell one more part of my story.
Okay.
My little tiny boy, Jason, was 15 at the time, over there going to international school, and his saxophone hero was Bob Rockwell, who I just mentioned. He learned the solo from this record Billy and I did, note by note. So we're inviting Jason up to join us on this as well. So Brother Billy, without you, I would not
Okay.
have this record. And Jason, you have come into your own. Currently touring with Michael Bolton, so he's hit all the world stages. He's beat his mother out on that.
We're going to come back after this song, and all of us are going to do a song together. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be, Mick we'll hurry. Anyway, do this song. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, that was 40 years ago, and I've forgotten it, but...
No, you haven't. All right, you guys, this is too much fun. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's too late to leave early, so I think I'll stay. Set 'em up, Joe, I'm gonna have one more. Band's got another set to play. And I sure like that bass man. My, he's playing sweet. It's too late to leave early, and that's all right with me. Now it's too late to leave early, so let the music start. Play it again, Sam, 'cause I love the jam, and I have got a party heart. You know I can't miss a good time. You know that's not my style. It's too late to leave early. I'm gonna be dancing in the aisle, long as you play me some basic and you play me some fun. Lady, won't you sing me some Ella? Just stand the night with the loneliest monk. 'Cause it begins to tell round about midnight when all of my friends are on hand. Phil's on drums, we're gonna break out the mums, and we're gonna toast that piano man. 'Cause he's surely done his homework. We're gonna leave no song unsung. It's too late to leave early, because the night has just begun. Jason. And I sure like that bass man, Brother Bill. My, he's playing sweet. And it's too late to leave early. Lord, you might find me dancing in the street. Long as you play me some bassy and you play me some fun. Lady, won't you sing me a little Sarah Bond? Just end the night with Monk. 'Cause it begins to tell round about midnight when all of my friends are on hand. Phil, he's on drums. Gonna break out the mugs. We're gonna toast that piano man. 'Cause he sure done his homework. We're gonna leave no song unsung. It's too late to leave early. 'Cause the night has just begun. Ah, you know this night has just begun here at Crooners. Best place to play in this town. The night has just begun. The night has just begun. Oh, yeah.
On behalf of Jazz 88, Linda, Minnesota jazz legend.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Woo.
I want to call everybody up here who's been Ollie back on bass and Steve Wright and Phil Aaron. We're going to do one song together. Linda, do you want to grab the mic you were singing in? Oh, yeah, just put that right there. I'm going to lay it down. Flailing arms. We're going to do one more song for you. Thank you again on behalf of Jazz 88. We want to say thank you for helping us to preserve history, the jazz history here in our Twin Cities. Thank you so very much on behalf of Dan Larkin and Johnny. We really, and Travis, if you're still here, thank you so very much. We're going to do one more song, and Minnesota Jazz Legends, we'll let you know when it's going to be airing, when it's finished. And I want to say thank you so much to Steve Weiss, Creation Audio, to Colin, to Jim, and to Ian for filming and doing the live streaming. And you will see YouTube videos out of this on our Jazz 88 page. Oh my gosh, Carrie Miller for helping, my assistant, Andrea Cantor on photography. And if I have forgotten someone, I am so sorry. But
Can I say thank you to Patty Peterson for putting this always all together on behalf of all of us.
I'm so glad to be able to do this. So anyway, let's do a really fun song that we grew up listening to. It's a little Gershwin, and we're all going to try and do this tune together. And thank you all. Ollie Lyle, Steve Wright, that's Phil Aaron, Phil Hay, and of course,
maestro.
Kevin Clements on bass tonight as well. And my brothers Billy and Jason. Let's do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, there.
It's very clear our love is here to stay.
All right.
Together we're going a long, long way.
The radio, the telephone, the movies we all know might be passing fancies, and in time they will go.
Oh, but oh my dear, our love is here to stay.
You know that.
Not for 1 year, but ever and a day.
In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar might topple. They're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. You want to play some? Come on, play some. Yeah. Woo. Steve. Come on, Ollie. Yeah, Steve. Ollie Lyle. It's very clear.
It's very clear.
Our love is here to stay.
Our love is here to stay.
Not for a year, but ever and a day.
The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know.
Maybe passing fancies in time they will go. Come on, help us.
Our love is here to stay.
Hey, together we're going a long, long way.
In time, the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here too. Our love is here. Our love is here to stay. Our love is here to stay.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Jazz 88, and to everyone here. Thanks to everybody here at Crooners.
Thank
and
you,
to the
everybody. What
Minnesota
fun.
Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund for helping us put this on. God bless you. Thank you so much.